Alrighty everyone, welcome back. It is now February 22nd of 2024, and given that there's a lot of issues happening between all divisions over at Disney, specifically Marvel Studios and other Marvel-related projects that have, of course, been going downhill, all related to Bob Iger, but it's not just Iger to blame. It also has a lot to do with Kevin Feige at the helm of many of these Marvel-related projects, and what's looming for 2025, and also what's going on with X-Men 97 and the expansion of the show. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. You can also follow me at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. So, we already know that there has been quite a bit of pushback by the fans over what happened with some of the design changes of the core characters in X-Men 97, among other issues, such as making Morph non-binary, which was chosen by showrunner Bo DeMeo, by the way, and it was created by both Iger and Kevin Feige to hand that down to Bo DeMeo on how that would be executed in the show. What's interesting about all of this has a lot to do with how they are going to head into a far worse situation for X-Men 97, and why I think ultimately this is only going to get worse and worse over time. So let's discuss exactly what's going on here with this show specifically. As we all know, Disney is using this as nostalgia, right? We know that they are banking on this show because it has that nostalgic grip to it, right? This is basically taking off where it all ended, right? This is a sequel, so to speak, if you guys have not been informed. It basically is a follow-up to where the animated series came to a conclusion back in 1997. However, with Disney and Marvel already heading into endless damage control with multiple projects on the horizon, one major development has much to do with X-Men 97 for Disney Plus and what's being mapped out by Bob Iger, Kevin Feige, and showrunner Bo DeMeo. A crucial update to this drama is that a Season 2 for X-Men 97 is already in serious discussions, and meetings have occurred about that show to expand, to actually up the ante of their usage of DEI and design changes to various and beloved characters. Both Iger and DeMeo, as well as Kevin Feige, already have a plan set up that will enhance their usage of DEI for Season 2, where more X-Men characters will be either gender-swapped or race-swapped for Season 2, along with chasing a series of events that will include the character Morph heading into multiple relationships that would be connected to his morphing powers, is something already on the table by both Kevin Feige and Bo DeMeo after making him non-binary for Season 1. However, Iger has already requested and demanded both Bo and Kevin that Season 2, the agendas should be more direct and upfront rather than vague in some areas. Iger's push for DEI in X-Men 97 Season 2 is set to deeply impact characters like Rogue, Cyclops, Wolverine, and among others, including more lesser-known X-Men characters that will be chosen to get the race and/or gender swap techniques thrown in with Disney's hopes that fans won't notice or care enough for those characters getting drastically changed in that sense. To make matters even worse, Iger specifically requested to both Feige and DeMeo that with the expansion of the series for a Season 2, they want to use their usage of pronouns in the show through dialogue, along with, of course, many pieces of dialogue by popular characters that will directly state their beliefs as well, such as Morph announcing how he is a non-binary individual through dialogue rather than it being a fact behind the scenes by the creators, is something Bob Iger is chasing. This all comes as a reaction from Bob Iger after the X-Men 97 backlash over what they did to designs of Rogue, Storm, and making Morph non-binary for starters, and it's only going to get worse for the second season. Right now, Iger's plan is to use X-Men 97 as a launching pad to insert DEI into animated classics to make the animated Marvel Universe start from scratch, essentially. Now, remakes of the animated series of X-Men already being in place, however, also Fantastic Four, Iron Man, and others like Spider-Man are already moving forward to connect everything and to introduce concepts of gender and race swapping of characters, design changes, and adding different backgrounds and pronouns to characters. However, this is already surprisingly creating an uproar from some of the creators, not just the fans, of the X-Men show, the animated classic, for X-Men 97, the creators are going into this uproar, so to speak, believing that Iger and the Disney heads are taking things way too far. And there is this internal backlash happening over at Disney, so to speak, from those working on the series. Knowing what Disney is organizing and putting together. Already backgrounds of Cyclops and Wolverine are planned to be drastically changed with a season 2 of X-Men 97, and this will be teased in the first one, reportedly, to prepare for the follow-up. Bo DeMeo and Kevin Feige are already directly chasing, of course, all these ideas by Iger, and were chosen by Iger as well to take part in remakes of the other animated classics, and or continuations of those classic 90s series. Iger is already having issues with the creators of X-Men 97 for those who are challenging Disney over all this drama. Let me just say one thing about this, by the way. You can't mess with the animated classics, right? This is pretty much set in stone for the 1990s, where a lot of Marvel fans, believe it or not, were made. There were a lot of Marvel fans that did not read the comics, that were introduced to the Marvel Universe, or the Marvel superhero, classics, through animated classics, through animated shows, and then they got into the comics later on. So it was quite a revolutionary decade for getting people into the comics, into the superheroes, and into those classic characters that we know today. And here we have it, Disney wants to essentially remake all of those, create their own little spin on it, and use it as pretty much nostalgia bait from what it sounds like. Now look, I'm not gonna lie, the teaser for X-Men 97, look, it wasn't like a tragedy at all, it wasn't absolutely terrible, it was entertaining to a degree, but there were areas in there where it's like, what did they just do? I think you guys know what I'm talking about. There were a lot of design inaccuracies, so to speak, for specific characters. Rogue being one of them, Storm being the other. I think that the consistency or any kind of connection to the classic should have been more accurate and more carefully designed and or animated in this show. We'll have to wait and see exactly what happens once the show drops, come March 20th, I believe, when it arrives, and it's going to be interesting to see what is going to actually and ultimately happen with this so-called quote-unquote animated universe that Bob Iger and Kevin Feige are trying to establish right now. That's exactly why they are sitting down, they are moving things forward with a season 2 of X-Men 97, as well as continuing the Spider-Man animated series, Fantastic Four, Iron Man, and others out there to connect everything together, to use as their platform to really shoehorn DEI in there. And it's disgusting, it really is. I mean, it just comes to a point where it's like, you can't take anymore, right? So, I would like to hear, what you all have to say about X-Men 97 overall. I know some people are saying Morph being non-binary is a non-issue, and others are really having a problem with this. To me, non-binary never existed in the 1990s, period, the end. So there's no reason to throw that in there, even if it's not direct through dialogue. You're having Bo DeMeo announcing this, you're having Disney announcing that, and it makes no sense. So overall, guys, drop a comment below, fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel, and I will catch you guys later.